Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and we're back with the Reel in a Bag project, courtesy of Anthony. I guess it's Reel in a Bags, plural, because there's several of them. This is the Penn Spinfisher VI series. It's the VI series. It's the 5500 reel. Beautiful reel. I guess Anthony got started on something, got a little bit in over his head. That's okay. I applaud everybody who's trying to service their own reels. That's kind of what this channel is about, teaching you how to do that. And it looks like may have stumbled along the way, and he's asking for an assist, which I'm going to try and do for him. And we'll see if we can't get this reel back together and fishing again. So the Penn Spinfisher, well, that's been around quite some time. It was first introduced in 1961, if I remember, with the Green series, the old Penn Greenies. It's gone through several iterations. It went from the 700 to the Z series, which was essentially the same reel. They just moved it over to a black and gold series, cosmetically more than anything else, with Series 2. And then they started to change. You went from the spiral or worm gear drives to the more conventional ones that we know today as the main gear and the oscillation gears. And then body style changes and the like as they moved up, including more bearings and everything else kind of in between there. So I have kind of an interesting array here. And the first thing I do, well, I kind of come up with a plan, don't I? So I always go to the schematic for the reel, even if I know the reel. In this case, don't know the reel that well, so it always is good to pull out a blueprint. And as you come upon some pieces and parts that are in there, well, that's when you want to start making the decision, where do these things belong? And this is a good piece to consult when you get into that piece of it. So we will see if we can't take these apart. Some of it is already apart, and we will do our best to get it going again. So the first thing I want to do is open up the housing. It looks like what we have out of here is the main gear, and we have the axle shaft and the crosswind block. That's all kind of standard stuff. I have the spool. Now I have the case, so there must be the bearings got to be inside the case. I'll show you. It's kind of a unique setup for these bearings. And we have our rotor and our handle. So to start putting this stuff back together, well, you got to take the case apart because that's where those gears go. And while I'm doing this, I'll encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the art of reel repair or just understanding how reels work. Well, I'm trying to pass what I know along to folks, and a subscription is your best way to find out what I'm publishing and when they're being broadcast on the channel, and then you can make a decision as to whether you want to watch it or not. It's not all spinning reels, it's not all pens, it's not all whatever, it's whatever comes into my shop. And that ranges from vintage reels to current reels like this one, and kind of everything in between. So we're going to call this one not only how to put the reel back together, we'll call it an inside look, because, well, that's what you'll get with this. You'll get an understanding of how the reel is made and a little bit about how to go service it. So this should come off now. And here's an interesting feature that is different from the earlier Penn Spinfishers. They've decided that they're going to put the bearing into the case, and they're going to hold it down with 3 screws. So the bearing is a sealed bearing. It doesn't require lubrication. 3 screws hold it in place. So if you've got a bearing flopping around, well, there's something going on there that shouldn't be going on there. All right, the first thing up then is the crosswind block. So we'll do a quick look at this. It says that there is a shim washer, which I'm not seeing. There's a collar. Then you would have the oh, there it is. It's on the back there. So there's a shim washer on the back. You might be able to see it. It's Teflon. So that goes over the top. See, that's how this schematic will help you. I always set my crosswind blocks with the stud to the bottom. That way it'll be clear of the main gear when you go to attach the the shaft. Also notice on this one, this case is sealed. You have a rubber gasket that's kind of snaking its way around the case there. That's to keep the saltwater intrusion out. All right, once you put that in, we're looking for the big screw now. That would be this one. That should go in the middle here to hold the crosswind gear in place. That's a Phillips head screw. And if we tighten that down, we'll be able to see that it works the way it should, which it does. We'll go back and reset that to the bottom next. Okay, so then we're going to just do a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of greasing while we're going on with this. But the next piece in then would be this crosswind block. I'm going to use the Penn greases for this, not because it's a Penn reel, but because it's a fishing reel grease, and I would encourage everybody to go ahead and make sure that you do that. And normally I would have a glove on, but this reel's pretty much been clean, and I've been pretty much told that it's a reassembly project here as opposed to a servicing project. However, we won't overlook. We will make sure that we get the pinion gear here all greased up. You don't have to oil those bearings because they're sealed. But we make sure that that has a nice coating of grease on it. Next up then is the main gear. We're going to look on the sides of the main gear now to make sure that if there are shim washers responsible here. Yes, there's one. It looks like they put two in at the factory. Those are in the case here. The shim washer is going to go onto the main gear. And then we're going to grease the main gear. And you can see that Penn uses the same grease that I use. The Penn greases make sense when they do their reels. So if you have questions on a reel like this, or any questions regarding fishing reels, if you leave them in the comment section, I'll try and help you along, see if I can't use my experiences to get you informed or keep you informed about that, and get you out of a jam if you're in a jam. All right, there's a cover on here. I'm going to assume that's got the rotor nut under it. Anthony did say it's complete. It's just needs some work here. That's what we're trying to do. Put it back together. I put those into a parts tray with the other pieces so that I can get them out. So the Penn Spinfisher in the 6th variety, I like that a lot. I think they're well-made reels, and I think that this one would be appropriate for the surf, and as well as boat trolling and the like. Yes, here's your rotor nut, and we certainly needed that. All right, that goes on next then, but before we do that, you'll notice we're missing this anti-reverse clip here. So that would be this piece. And on this one, you'll notice that there's a slot here, and that slot is going to correspond with the little stud that's on the side of the dog. I just got this question the other day. If I have an anti-reverse, it's an anti-reverse clutch, which I do here, then why do I need the dog? Well, that dog is a fail-safe. It's there to help under stress. You're fighting a big fish. You don't want to rely just on the ball bearings and the anti-reverse clutch. You want a secondary defense system, so to speak. And when this one comes back, when you go to back pedal, you'll notice that the claw comes out. And that claw is going to intersect with the ripples under the spool here, and it's going to provide extra stopping power. That's what you want to do. All right, this is the anti-reverse. Spool goes on. The nut should tighten in a normally clockwise manner. And then we're going to have to go get ourselves a socket here to make sure that we tighten that down. Well, that's not it. So while I'm doing this, if you like Anthony and you have a reel that needs to be serviced and maybe you don't want to do it yourself, well, if you send me a note to my email, I'll be happy to give you the service and repair information. The email will be on the business card that follows. All right, we're just going to tighten this down. I think something may have just fallen out there. No problem. We know where to put it back now. That's the crosswind block came out. And this is, it's kind of hard for you to do that here, but if you do, I'll just spin this. It seems like it's a little tight. It is tight. We're going to go back and take a look at the top end of this. Sometimes that little washer makes all the difference in the world. We'll see. Nope, we're still tight. Well, I've jumped quite far ahead, as you can tell. The reel is back together and it's functioning again. And I actually stopped the video, and I really wasn't going to even produce this one because it took me quite some time based on the schematic and the issues that we were having with that rotor to identify what the problem was and be able to correct it. So I did go to Anthony's note, and he told me that in addition to the schematic, he found 2 shim washers in the pinion gear stack, and he just didn't know where they belonged, and that's why he couldn't get the pinion gear to spin, the rotor to spin freely. And in all honesty, I've spent way too much time trying various locations for those washers. I tried them below, I tried them shimming the bearings, I tried shimming them on the other sides of the bearings. Turns out that the factory put those bearings inside the collar for the anti-reverse arm. And I believe they did that because there needs to be a tolerance in the case here that will not bolt down the rotor to that. So Anthony suggested that I just pick it up here, let you know that it's not always what it shows on the schematic, even with a factory fresh reel, and take pictures. That's his suggestion as much as mine. As you go to disassemble and you pull those pieces apart, at critical junctures, take the pictures so that when you go to reinstall, you can have a nice smooth operating reel. So we had a problem. The problem was that whenever you bolted down the rotor tight, well, it wouldn't move. Now we are rock solid tight, and we're just doing that nice smooth turning that you would expect to see on a Penn Spinfisher reel. So that's lessons learned here. Patience is a key. Taking pictures is a key, and just don't give up. There is a solution. If it was working before you started, well, it should work after you finish. So before we end, I'd like to thank our first responders and essential personnel, everybody involved in keeping us safe during the pandemic. Your efforts truly are appreciated. To everybody, please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.